And we're back live with the world #1, the defending U.S. Open champion, the 17-time Grand Slam champion himself, Rafa Nadal. He just stepped foot onto the practice courts to prepare for his battle with world #9 Dominic Thiem. Thiem defeated last year's U.S. Open finalist Kevin Anderson, the #5 seed, in straight sets yesterday. That was Thiem's first hardcourt victory over Anderson. Anderson had won the previous 6 over the young Austrian. Thiem just 24 years old, and he and Rafa Nadal have played quite a bit over the past few years. Rafa leads the all-time head-to-head 7-3. However, Dominic Thiem made waves defeating Rafa on clay each of the last 2 years. He defeated him in the Masters 1000 in Rome 2017 in straight sets, and also got him at the Masters 1000 in Madrid in the quarterfinals this year, 7-5, 6-3. However, Rafa answered back when it mattered most in the finals of the French Open, defeating Thiem in straight sets 6-4, 6-3, 6-2. They also played earlier this year in Masters 1000 Monte Carlo in the quarterfinals, with Rafa defeating Thiem 6-0, 6-2. That one of the more dominating performances of their rivalry by Rafa Nadal. Rafa Nadal, now 32 years old, will be playing against a much younger opponent. Thiem just 24, part of that wave of next generation superstars sweeping the tour, looking to finally break through in a Grand Slam after such sustained dominance by the big three. After 2 opening round performances that Rafa was very pleased with, he was up a set over David Ferrer before Ferrer retired due to a calf injury, before announcing that this would be Ferrer's final Grand Slam appearance. Rafa Nadal also defeated Vasek Pospisil in the second round in straight sets. Pospisil, the 28-year-old Canadian, before Rafa's first real test of the tournament, that coming in the third round against the 27 seed Karen Khachanov of Russia. Khachanov up a set and a break on Rafa Nadal. Khachanov, a big server, was dictating points from the start of the match. Rafa really didn't feel like he had his feel. Rafa struggling quite a bit on the backhand side in particular, but he was able to find a way to fight through that match and come out with a victory, defeating Khachanov 7-6 in the 4th set. That match highlighted by a third set tiebreaker that went Rafa's way, 9-7. That match, a true battle for the defending champ, but Rafa, one of the all-time great fighters in tennis history, was able to survive and advance. He also dropped a set against Nicolas Basilashvili yesterday. Basilashvili of Georgia took the third set 7-6 before Rafa closed him out 6-4 in the 4th. Thiem and Nadal will face off in the quarterfinals tomorrow. The winner of that match could face #3 seed and 2009 champion Juan Martín del Potro in the semi-finals. Rafa Nadal hitting with a different hitting partner out here today. He was hitting with Carlos Moya, his coach and former world #1. You see Moya there off to the side. Moya working with Rafa and has done an exceptional job since joining his team. But Rafa today hitting with Mark Lopez. Lopez, a top doubles player in the world. He was a finalist in the U.S. Open doubles tournament last year, playing with his partner Feliciano Lopez. Former Davis Cup teammates are Nadal and Lopez. It is a hot one out here today after milder temperatures over the past couple of days. The extreme heat policy is back in effect once again today. That means an optional 10-minute break between the 3rd and 4th sets for the men's matches and the 2nd and 3rd sets for the women's matches, as well as granting all necessary medical timeouts for heat-related illnesses. Temperatures expected to reach the 90s, with temperatures well over 100 degrees on the court. That's something to take into account for all the folks playing today. Rafa, of course, had an off day today after defeating Basilashvili in Arthur Ashe Stadium yesterday. Nadal coming out here to prepare for his battle with Dominic Thiem tomorrow. Madison Keys and Dominika Cibulkova just about to get underway in Arthur Ashe Stadium. That'll be followed by Novak Djokovic against Joao Sousa. Sousa has back-to-back wins over top 20 players in the world in this U.S. Open. He is on quite a run, playing some of the best tennis of his career. This is best Grand Slam showing in his career. He'll see if he can continue his run of upsets against 13-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic. That match will be coming not before 2 p.m. Eastern in Arthur Ashe Stadium tonight in the nightcap. World number 2 and 20-time Grand Slam champion Roger Federer will look to seal his spot in the quarterfinals, facing off against Millman from Australia. That match following Maria Sharapova. Let us know in the comments your pick to win the men's U.S. Open singles title this year. Also, let us know your predictions for this battle, the 11th match in the rivalry between Rafa Nadal and Dominic Thiem. Will Thiem be able to get revenge after Nadal's triumphant French Open final victory, or will Nadal continue his winning ways and reach yet another Grand Slam quarter-final? Yvonne in the comments rooting for Rafa as is normal. Michael in the comments saying should be a great match against Dominic. Rafa should win in 4 sets. Amber asking, is this warm-up or practicing? Is he playing today? This is just an off-day practice for Rafa. Of course, we see all the players coming and practicing for about a half hour on their off days, just making sure they keep their timing, keep their rhythm on the court, make sure they have their feel going into their match. For a player like Rafa, that's incredibly important. He'll be playing tomorrow. Jack in the comments picking Roger Federer to win the title this year and thus win Grand Slam number 21. Of course, we have another exciting day of coverage live from the practice courts for you here on U.S. Open social media, the only place you can find live coverage of player practice sessions, seeing what they're working on, how they're preparing for their matches, and so much more behind the scenes content. Make sure you keep it locked in with us all tournament long. We'll be bringing you Maria Sharapova's practice live at 4:30 Eastern, followed by Roger Federer's practice at 5:30 Eastern. All that's still to come today. Mary in the comments saying, hope it's a really tight match. Love both players. Also commenting what a boost it would be for Dominic. As we know, Rafa is the king. Of course, Dominic has proven that he can beat Rafa Nadal on big stages. 2 wins in Masters 1000 tournaments. Sharon asking, do we know what time Rafa is on tomorrow? The schedule for tomorrow's matches has not yet been released, but make sure you keep tuned in with us here on U.S. Open social media. As soon as the schedule of play is released for tomorrow, we will make sure to update all of you at home so you know when to tune in and watch the defending champ, Rafa Nadal. Scott in the comments saying hello from Dublin. Thank you to all of our international fans, of course. Amaka saying hello from Nigeria. Nick saying, Rafa's always thirsty for a victory, has a brilliant never say die mentality, and boy did we see that mentality, that fighting spirit against Kachanov in the 3rd round. Good. Carlos Moya coming over for a quick low. Moya, of course, former world number 1, former French Open champ, U.S. Open semi-finalist, and a great guy as well. Rafa Nadal had a couple of extra practice sessions over the past few weeks following that tough match against Kachanov. He was frustrated with himself for not really having his feel in that match, but has certainly been putting in the work to try and regain his rhythm on the court, get readjusted to the conditions here. The conditions seem to be changing almost every day. Of course, we had the extreme heat for the first few days of the tournament. Then over the weekend, some much cooler temperatures, about a 25-degree difference, as well as some light showers. Now back to the heat once again. Of course, all of this dramatically impacting the way the courts have been playing. And in the comments saying, "Vamos, Rafa." Michelle in the comments picking Federer to take the title this year. Russell in the comments saying that he hopes Rafa can have a straight set victory against Dominic Thiem tomorrow so we can save energy for later in the tournament. Panos asks, can Roger and Rafa face off in the final? They can indeed. They are on opposite halves of the draw. Roger Federer could be on his way to a quarterfinal collision course with Novak Djokovic. However, both of them fall in the same quarter of the draw. Should they both win later today, that match will be officially set in stone for Wednesday. That match, one of the premier matchups that everyone was talking about as soon as the draw was released. Setting up some cones now on the court, a little bit of target practice for Rafa. This is something we often see the pros do when they're training. Of course, as we mentioned, these practice sessions, the main point of focus for Rafa is just getting his feel back, getting his timing back, and just hitting his spots, because Rafa obviously confident that if he can get out on the court and hit his spots, that he can beat anyone in the world, as he's proven throughout his storied career. Sharon asking, how is Rafa's knee? Of course, in that match against Kachanov, Rafa had his knees taped. We weren't sure exactly what the injury was or if any pain is still lingering. Rafa saying that it's just one of those aches and pains that he feels on a regular basis. Of course, tennis is such a tough sport on the body. He has not had his knees taped in any of his practice sessions or his match following his victory against Kachanov. I'm not sure whether that means that the pain has completely subsided or at least is much better. Nadal now working with some hand-tossed balls. This is something that they do quite a bit in Spain in particular, this type of hand-toss training. Moya dropping the ball just in front of Rafa. Rafa with the quick footwork, stepping into the ball and trying to drive it into that box made by the cones in the corner. A lot of the Spanish pros in particular will do this for extended periods of time in their practice sessions. Not only does it train them to hit those spots, but also very physically demanding and requires exceptional footwork.
Time.
We'll see another round of balls hand tossed here by Carlos Moya. Rafa trying to put them right in that box in the deep cross-court corner there. This is such an important pattern for Rafa Nadal. Of course, a lefty with such a heavy forehand, able to drive it deep through the court, but with so much topspin, able to kick up on his opponent's backhand. This is something he'll look to do against Dominic Thiem, and a pattern that he's very comfortable with, using that forehand to pound the backhand side and push his opponent's back deep into the court. You hear a brief roar from the crowd as Rafa hit one of the cones left out there for him. Rafa, of course, such an incredibly hard worker, not only in his matches but in practice as well, takes his training incredibly seriously, takes his fitness incredibly seriously. Of course, always one of the fitter players on tour. Has had his fair share of injuries over the past few years, but conditioning never a question for Rafa Nadal. Carlos Moya now giving a demonstration of the next drill Rafa will be doing out here on the court. Rafa, as you saw, they're working on taking that mid-court ball, in particular, deep into that backhand corner. That a shot Rafa struggled with a bit in his early rounds as he tried to get on offense in the rallies. Rafa often on defense against Kachanov. There you see Rafa and Carlos Moya chatting, Moya explaining the next drill. True tennis royalty here on practice court 1. Another round of this drill from Rafa, making sure he takes small steps around the cones, quick footwork, and then stepping up to that ball, hitting off his front foot, extending all the way through the ball, rotating through his shot, not pulling off, as his coach and he have spoken about quite a bit over the past few practice sessions. Incredibly warm conditions today here on the practice courts, as we said, but of course that no matter for Rafa Nadal, the great champion out here working incredibly hard on the practice courts. Basically a full training session for Rafa as he prepares to face Dominic Thiem tomorrow. Moya now going on the other side and feeding forehands to Rafa, working on a similar shot now without the cones for Rafa to move around, just working on recovering back to the baseline and then extending back out to hit this ball cross court. Just hit another one of the cones set out in the target box. You can clearly see here what patterns Rafa is going to be focusing on in this match against Thiem. He's going to be looking to get the ball on his forehand side, picking on Thiem's backhand as much as possible during the match. Susan saying love the drill work. Of course, we love seeing Rafa come out here and train, work hard, and practice before his next match here at the U.S. Open. Lorraine in the comments saying go Rafa. Donna asking what channel is this? Well, this is U.S. Open social media, the only place you can find all the live player practice coverage and more behind the scenes coverage here at the U.S. Open. Moya now feeding from the opposite side, mimicking a ball coming back from the backhand corner to Rafa. Rafa putting another ball, driving it deep into the court, back in his opponent's backhand corner. There you see Rafa hitting more of a horizontal swing coming across his body, as players often do when stepping into the court, taking that mid-court ball rather than the more vertical swing that we're used to Rafa hitting from deeper behind the baseline. That ball with a bit more net clearance and a bit more heavy spin. The ball that Rafa working on right there, driving the ball through the court a bit flatter with that horizontal swing across his body. As Rafa takes a water break, we're going to take a break as well, but make sure you stay tuned. We'll be back in just a couple of hours at 4:30 Eastern for Maria Sharapova, former U.S. Open champion. We'll have her practice session live. And right after that, 5:30 Eastern, Roger Federer as he prepares for his match later this evening against the Aussie Millman. Rafa Nadal, the world #1, taking a breather. But stay tuned with us. Joey Brando here with you all tournament long. Maria Sharapova, Roger Federer coming up soon. We'll be back.